I finished my report on all the trials that went on in GTMO the last couple of weeks. And for the purpose of today, I'm going to be going over the trial that happened last week in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. So we're going to keep this short and straight to the point. Since I'm going to be doing these daily, I do not want to give you information overload, but nonetheless, every single day is going to be critically important for the public to pay attention to, so we can lessen the amount of misinformation that's getting out there. Everything that is provided here today is easily accessible in order to be able to fact check, and I highly recommend you do so. So please do. All right, I am going to share my screen. Okay, I am first off, before I move forward, I'm requesting that if you like what I report, please like this video. If you have not subscribed yet, you may want to subscribe on whatever that's YouTube, Rumble, whichever this is, become part of our subscription. It's free. No big deal. But anyway, okay. First place I'm taking you is to the Office of Military Commissions website. This is important. I know I keep sharing this, but you need to be aware of it. This is where you go to fact check me and or in the future to be able to check on what is going on in GTMO. It's all right here. You can see at the top here, and I will also put this web address in the description bar and also in our future reports, mc.mil/home.aspx. It's the Office of Military Commissions website, and that is where everything is that you can find. In fact, right here, you can find daily transcripts. Can you see where I am pointing to this? Daily transcripts. This is where you can check anything and everything that I report, or even anyone else is reporting things that are going on in GTMO. Come here. You can find exactly what's happening on the transcripts in all the open court cases. If it is a closed court case, it will not be in any transcript, nor will there be any reporters whatsoever. The only thing in closed cases are the judge, the defense team, and the prosecution. They don't even have the accused in there more often than not. Very, very rarely, depending on what it is, because it's classified. So if you want to know what is going on in GTMO, and if there's a particular case coming up and you're kind of questioning, go here to the daily transcripts. There's active cases. You can click on that, see everything that's going there. This also gives right over here where the viewing sites are, and I'm going to be talking about that in a future thing. We got some exciting things coming up. Extremely exciting things coming up. I just have to clarify a few things first before I bring that up. So you're going to have to pay close attention. Also tells here about cases on appeal and so on. Military commissions on CCTV. This is where a lot of this is coming on this live stream with a 40-second delay. 40-second delay is for classified situations. Something comes out that shouldn't, then they just put everything on hold. Okay, so I am going to move now over to the calendar section. You can see what's going on for the month of June. Now, the first week was the Hadi trial. I have not covered that as of yet because more is coming up with that. And so I'm going to be, I will be explaining more about that as it comes up. But this last couple of weeks, this week over here is what I'm going to be talking about. We're talking about the al-Nashiri trial. And the reason that is important, you guys need to be aware of it, and I'm afraid a lot of you aren't, is this is about the USS Cole bombing. And I'm going to be going over that in a minute. But that is a calendar. If you go back here and you scroll down, there's a part here where it says calendar. Click on that, and it has a calendar for the next how many months, just so you're aware. Okay, so that's what that is. Now, I am moving forward to the C-Find website. That's c-find.com, c-find.com. I'm having a lot of difficulty people saying that whenever I put a link, the link is fine at first, and this is on social media, but somehow, some way, it gets corrupted. So you're going to have to type it in. I'm sorry, I nothing I can do about that, but it's c-vine.com. Put in the HTTPS / semicolon, etc. before it, c-vine.com. All right, this is the website. This is going to be reporting where you can go. What you hearing here on the video, I actually have a physically written report that you can go and see. Also, with what's going on for the entire month of August, I'm letting people know now, I am going to be at Fort Meade in the special room for the entire month of August, reporting and or taking notes on what's going on in Gitmo. And this is going to be in that special room. You can come there also, and I'm going to be explaining how that happens. But in the meantime, I'm requesting assistance for travel expenses, and that's right here. You can click on the donation button to help, because it's going to take well over $3,000 just for the hotel rooms, and also not to mention flights and food and amenities. So I'm doing a $5,000 goal for the month of August to be able to do this. If more is made, I'm going to be able to help others that are coming there, because that's the other thing I was going to talk to you about. We are bringing on 20 people that are going to be there with me in Fort Meade watching these live. So I have witnesses that this is going to help eradicate some of the grifting. This is going to help eradicate some of the misleading things that are coming out there, whether it's intentional or just honestly not knowing what's going on. The only reason, the only reason I know what is or isn't true is because I've been there since 2019 in January, and except for, of course, when it was closed for the pandemic, and watching what's going on and studying and so on. And this is available to you, but I will get into more of that later. We need to pull together, people, because it's getting serious, and it can't be just me and a few of the other volunteers. I'm looking for 20 people. We're going to get together. It doesn't have to be for the entire month. It can just be for a couple of days. If you're, driving through Maryland, Washington, D.C., or whatever, it's on Fort Meade. This is where I'll be. Stop by. I would love to meet you. And you can see this room I'm talking to you about. You don't have to report on it. You can just be there and take notes. But I want eyes on. I want witnesses. Okay, for everything that I am talking about. You can't take a camera in there. You can't, do any of your things with a laptop or anything to this effect, because it's open to the public, but you can go in with a pen and paper. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next part, which is our report for today. And this is about the trial report at Camp Justice in Gitmo from June 12th to 17th, 2023. Okay, as we scroll down, I'm just going to go ahead and read this to you. Following is an updated report on this month's military proceedings in Gitmo, June 12th to the 17th. Since C-Vine doesn't have any volunteers at present in the Fort Meade viewing room taking notes on the live CCTV transmissions from Gitmo, we are providing an eyewitness report via tweets from Carol Rosenberg of the New York Times. Carol is physically in Gitmo, reporting on the USS Cole bombing proceedings that happened on October 12th, the year 2000. In other words, 23 years ago. And they remain in pretrial status. Side note, yes, this trial also is not in a trial. It is in pretrial, just like the KSM et al. 9/11, which happened after this, is also in pretrials. It's not in tribunals yet. Oh my gosh, this is the second trial that hasn't made it to tribunal after over 20 years. Why is that? Why we need eyes on, people. We need eyes on, and they need to see that the American people are watching. Okay? So going back here, They remain in pretrial status. The tweets at the bottom, which is what I'm going to be getting to, start on the 12th and move upward to the latest, June 17th. Missing days are because of closed sessions not open to public purview, including reporters. I'm stating that clearly on purpose. No reporters are allowed in closed proceedings either. Anything that is in open proceedings has transcripts, and it's something that you can fact check. Okay. Closed proceedings, not going to happen. You're not going to know. It's classified. Okay. Missing days are because of closed sessions not open to public purview, including reporters. The accused is Saudi citizen Abdul al-Rahim al-Nashiri. For future reference, al-Nashiri for brief, to basically is the name that I'll be using for the USS Cole trials, al-Nashiri. You may read about the USS Cole bombing description account here, and I have a link to that. At present, the only approved reporters in GTMO are from mainstream media. Did you hear that? At present, the only approved reporters in GTMO are from mainstream media. But the public has access to watch these exact same live proceedings with a 40-second delay that Carol can see here in a special viewing room on Fort Meade. You can view the court transcripts, list of detainees, judges, rulings, calendars, etc., etc. And I have that link right here. That is on our website. It's right here. Sorry about repeating that. This also, I have a picture of the calendar, which I just showed you. All right. Now, before I move forward with what Carol Rosenberg has to say, in all fairness, Carol has been covering the GTMO trials since practically the very beginning. Okay. She used to work for the Miami Herald, and she does actually quite a good job. I have fact checked what she has said and what I have seen from Fort Meade against the transcripts, and she's right on target. She gets down to the nitty gritty and does types of proverbial bullet points instead of going over verbatim, which you can look verbatim on the transcripts on the website, the Office of Military Commission's website. You can double check what's going on there. And anytime that something comes up, you can see here this little thing that says secure session, please stand by. Anytime that 40-second delay is popped up and the trials are stopped, that's a little blue thing that comes up. But Carol Rosenberg is in GTMO right now. Now, she did just add this before I got to put it into my report that I found of interest. As a side note, the Coast Guard has ended the 9/11 legacy operations at Guantanamo Bay and handed off duties to the Navy and Marine Corps and made it home in time for Father's Day. And then she has a link to the New York Times report, and it's, from what I can see here, it's very factual. So, go ahead and read that. But I just thought that was interesting. Whatever you want to make of it, maybe nothing, but things have been handed off to the Navy and Marine Corps, whereas before Coast Guard was the one that has been doing the waters. So found that interesting. All right. Now she goes here. It's travel day at Camp Justice, which was Friday. Now I'm going to get back over to the report, but find her on Twitter. You can see what's going on. She does a very good job. And this is somebody who was actually physically in Guantanamo Bay reporting on things. Okay, so going back over here to my report, it's travel day at Camp Justice, the War Court Complex at Guantanamo Bay. Legal teams and other court personnel are heading out on the Pentagon Charter, bringing in fresh staff and observers for the shortened week 2 of this USS Cole bombing case pre-trial hearing. Now, keep in mind, this was supposed to, if you look back up here in the calendar, it was supposed to go all week. It only went for 3 days. So it was either shut off to close proceedings or canceled. Or postponed, or whichever. But anyway, so I digress. Those staying behind will have Monday off as a holiday and will be treated on Friday to the base's monthly surf and turf. The USS Cole Bombing case is nearing a crossroads decision on the lasting effects of torture by the CIA, and a veteran military interrogator testified as the last expert witness that memory is degraded and the damage to the reliable intelligence is profound. More pictures, Guantanamo case nearing a decision on the lasting effects of torture. This is what's gone on this last week. Guantanamo, okay. A military judge heard from the final expert before he decides whether interrogations at Guantanamo were contaminated by years of CIA detention. See where this is going, folks? Even years later, sorry for the interjection, even years later, the debility, dependency, and dread doesn't disappear when they walk into a clean room in suits, said Stephen M. Kleinman, who served in the CIA and then Air Force from 1983 to 2015 and retired as a colonel with a specialty in human intelligence. This testimony on torture was beamed to Guantanamo from Virginia. Okay, I think that's interesting. The witness, defense lawyer, and prosecutor on that topic were all up there, and the judge engaged via video feed. The prisoner was voluntarily absent about the secret courtroom annex here. Okay, side note. Generally, in the very first day of the trials for that month, the judge, it's mandated that the prisoner and or accused be there at least one day, the first day of the trials. So in the future, the reason I'm bringing this up is to remind you that should you decide to go to Fort Meade, the best day to go is on the first day of the month of that particular trial. Even as things come up, there's 3 or 4 trials going on in a month. Keep that in mind. The first day of the trial is the best day to be there because then you could actually see the accused in the courtroom. The rest of the time, more often than not, they choose not to be there, which is their right, especially after 20 years. All right. The testimony on torture was beamed to Guantanamo from Virginia. The witness, defense lawyer, and prosecutor on that topic were all up there, and the judge engaged in via video feed. The prisoner was voluntarily absent. Okay, sorry, I read that. Moving down. War court proceedings to Guantanamo from secret chamber in Virginia. The tribunals were intentionally set offshore. Now, increasingly, military judges are hearing testimony and arguments from a classified annex. That's good to know. That's another report that is put out by the New York Times. If you are interested in exactly what they are talking about here, this link is live if you wanted to click on that. All right. On June 13th, as Mr. Soufan told Mr. Hamdan, dropped to his knees in prayer and then turned cooperative. Sometimes he, his FBI colleague, and the prisoner, unshackled, would sit on the floor and chat, he said. Sometimes he brought him a fish sandwich from McDonald's as a treat. Mr. Soufan said he first found Mr. Hamdan uncooperative because his U.S. captors had reneged on a promised call to his pregnant wife. So Mr. Soufan said in a day or so, he brought him to a GTMO courtyard and rang up the wife in Yemen on a satellite phone for a quick welfare check. It's stunning. It's a stunning crescent moon morning here at soggy Guantanamo Bay on day 2, week 1 of Judge Acosta's final session, presiding on the USS Cole case. Testimony on hearsay testimony at 0900. Okay, there's a picture, New York Times article. That talks about this in court now. FBI agent Ali Soufan is talking about his interrogations of former bin Laden driver Salim Hamdan, who was tried and convicted at Guantanamo Bay and then later acquitted of war crimes. Credit 2008 sketch by Janet Hamlin, etc., etc. This is going to the New York Times. All right. Mr. Soufan said he learned about Mr. Hamdan when he questioned his brother-in-law, Abu Jandi, in Yemen after 9/11. Then one day he realized that Mr. Hamdan was in a cell at Guantanamo. He was eager to question him because of his proximity to bin Laden and went maybe the next day. All right. Side tweet of interest that she put out. Yet another ethics issue involving the military commission's judges in Guantanamo. Appeals panel is examining Guantanamo judges' next job on ethics ground. This is for the USS Cole. So it's an interesting thing here. It seems to be a regular ongoing saga. Judges either retiring or they are, excuse me, being transferred or whatever the case is. And then they have to go through the process of doing voir dire and finding a new judge. And that's how many more months and etc. The judge has to familiarize themselves with a very complicated case, which puts more delays, gives you just a little hint of a small part of why this is an ongoing saga of a trial and or trials that never end. All right. It's interesting. If you want to read about it, it's in here in the report. So now we're going to June 12th. This is the other day that was available. Correction, the interrogation of Mr. Badawi that Mr. Soufan is describing took place in Yemen in 2001, not 2002. General Naej wants Mr. Badawi to tell the U.S. agents that he knew two guys named Harazi and Tuami from the jihad in Bosnia. Mr. Badawi said he did say that under earlier Yemeni interrogation, but it was a lie. Soufan has explained that Harazi was a Nashiri alias. Mr. Soufan is explaining that as he was questioned, Mr. Badawi back then, Yemeni security officials are coming and going, some of them very differential to the prisoner. At one point, the head of the presidential guard for Ali Abdul Saleh, named Harad Naji, interrupted. The rainwaters have receded on the pathway to court, the mud has dried, and the mold has been wiped away from the seats inside. But today we had mosquito netting on soldiers and spectators. Expeditionary justice about today in court. It's a finicky guard day. In addition to the strange pretrial hearing silence imposed on the spectators gallery for 29 minutes before the judge entered court, we saw a soldier direct a translator for the prosecution to screw a top back up on his water bottle. Okay, you guys. So that's what's been going on. This is why you don't hear a lot of it. I mean, it's boring, but if you read between the lines, you can see why this is taking so long and why all this sensationalism is going on and so easily directed towards keeping everyone ignorant. But I'm going to bore you guys to tears, I guess. I'm also going to do my very, very best to bring to light all different types of situations that go on behind the scenes and for everything for you to look at. Plus, we need to come together, folks. So I'm going to be talking very soon here about how we can all work together in a team, whether we are physically together or online. So anyway, I hope everything was well today. This is Carol Rosenberg, is who we were talking about today from the New York Times. It reports on GTMO. You want to find out what's going on, it's a good way to go here. This is a report that I did on another day. It's important that you guys take the time. I have the link in today's report about the Cole bombing case at Guantanamo Bay. And so I will be doing another report on that. You guys need to understand what is going on, okay? So bear with me. I will talk to you tomorrow, and don't forget to do your like. And if anything, please take the time and donate for travel expenses. Become a member of the website, and everything is free of charge. So there's no paywall whatsoever. But just go ahead and become a member, and I will send you some newsletters. Become a paid member. It would be very, very helpful. That also helps us with our monthly expenses. So it's up to you. We're here if you need us. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day, and we will be back tomorrow.